Dr. Daniel Koritzkis is the chief of the Infectious Diseases Division at Brigham and Women's Hospital. Dr. Koritzkis, thanks for joining us. Good to see you.
Good to be with you, Ben and Erica.
So let's start with the situation on the Cape. Given the new Boston advisory to isolate and then get tested, what should people, even those who are vaccinated, be thinking about if they're headed to the Cape this summer?
I think if you're heading to the Cape, that's fine. You might want to be a little bit more cautious, though, about exactly what sorts of things you do once you get there. You should make sure that the people you're going to be gathering with are also vaccinated. And if you're not sure that they're vaccinated, or if you don't know if they're vaccinated, then you should be wearing masks or avoid indoor situations where people are crowded together.
Well, let's talk about the bigger travel picture even. It's summer, of course. Many people may be traveling for the first time out of New England. Should they be cautious about traveling to other parts of the country, and what should they keep in mind as they consider that travel?
I think it depends a lot on where you're traveling. First of all, of course, while traveling, if you're flying or on a train, you need to be wearing your mask as required by federal regulations. But if you're traveling to a state that has a high incidence of COVID-19, then once again, know where you're going, whom you're going to be staying with or seeing while you're there. Avoid crowded indoor situations, or wear a mask when you get to those kinds of situations.
Another thing that's on a lot of people's minds these days, that new study came out yesterday. It appears to show the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine may not be as effective against the Delta variant. So what are you telling patients who got J&J? There's a couple 100,000 of them in Massachusetts at this point. What should they do right now?
It's a little hard to be able to translate directly from that study, which was only in the laboratory looking at the levels of antibody that were generated by the J&J vaccine against these variants compared to the BioNTech or Moderna vaccines. All of the vaccines still gave higher levels of antibodies than natural infection did. So whether that really translates into lower levels of protection against the variants or not is still an open question. So for now, I would say the same to people with the J&J vaccine as with the Moderna or the Pfizer vaccine. You should consider yourself protected, but wear a mask in indoor crowded situations.
And as for the increase in breakthrough infections, that's been getting a lot of attention. Massachusetts, of course, we know has one of the highest vaccination rates in the country. But how concerned should we actually be about this? We know the percentage is still small, but it's happening.
I think people need to keep that in perspective. We are really fortunate that so many people here in the Commonwealth have been vaccinated, and that puts us in a much better situation than in other parts of the country. That doesn't mean that everybody is going to be completely protected. We know the vaccines are not foolproof. And so, again, some common sense needs to be used. If you have vulnerable people in your household, you may want to be a little bit more cautious about what you do and where you go. Avoid crowded situations indoors with people whom you don't know or whose vaccine status you don't know. And I think we'll be able to get through this if people take those precautions. The most important thing is to get as many people vaccinated as we can so that we can extend that protection to everybody and bring the rates of infection down across the entire community.
All right, Dr. Daniel Koritzkis, Chief of Infectious Diseases at Brigham and Women's Hospital. Good to see you, Dr. Koritzkis.